They're down the rabbit hole now regarding quality and local with a panel on the chefs and farmers, the new holy duo, with some wonderful, wonderful speakers here. We have Martin Berg, we have Frida Nilsson, we have Saba Nazarian, Anki Johanna van Lanteren, and Christian Jorge. Come up on stage, people. Yes, here we have. Here comes the rest of you guys. You're not Anke.
Hello.
Yeah, no. But you're someone else that comes from Johanna Stadsodlingar. Okay, lovely. We have two microphones here. Now, and Saba, come up here. We have another chair for you. We don't want to miss you. Yep, sir, that's yours. Yeah, I kicked you out just a minute before. That's my usual style. No, you can sit down. And I'll stand over here. Makes me about as tall as you guys. So we always talk about food and tech, and it seems like tech is a big part of it, and sometimes it is. But I think the underlying philosophy is always about improving the quality of food and improving how food is being produced. I think this is reflected in this group. I mean, let's just take a brief intro. Martin, you're the two-star Michelin chef now heading up Arket at the H&M chain store, the cafes, rather, at Arket, not Arket, to say, but the cafes. And you probably get back to that. Frida, I mean, like, you're one of our coming superstar chefs. You're obsessed with quality. I love that. And Jorge, Christian, you're one of these wonderful people out of France, really respecting food culture, now running a brand with regenerative products. That makes it super easy for anyone, I'd say, that buys those products to become a top chef at home because they're super high quality. And we don't have Anki Johanna van Lanteren here, but we have Lisa from Johanna Stadsodlingar, that is a producer, aquaponic producer, only producer for chefs. So only the top quality. And then, of course, Saba Nazarian, our wonderful, world famous urban farmer from Malmö, working a lot with Frida over there. So, no, we'll get back to you why you are world famous. Okay. So, now we put this program in this panel here because we think one of the ways that we can achieve higher quality is to actually connect chefs and farmers a bit better. I mean, like some of your top chefs, you already have all of those connections. But I think we need to have more connections between chefs and farmers because they could really appreciate quality and drive this forward. Am I kicking in wide open doors now? You're all nodding. No one is raising the microphones. No one dares to say anything here. Okay, I'll try another one. Why is it that we don't eat quality food all the time?
Because
Lisa.
of logistics chains, because of international production, because of shelf life, because of, I mean, we're in Sweden. It's dark and cold here for a majority of the year. You can't produce much unless you do year-round varieties like we do with indoor farming. So logistics is a large part of it because you have to be able to get to the good quality product. There can be good quality products on the other side of the world. That doesn't matter. You have to have it where you are. So.
Give it over to Chris there. Chris, is that the case? Is it only about logistics here? Or can you actually fix the quality problem by building brands where you connect with great farmers?
Yes. One thing could be about taste, taste of the products that you can eat. And for that, maybe the sourcing of the ingredients are the key. So in Omi, my brand, we have a full range of 200 products. And we select every ingredient in the soil, choosing the right techniques, regenerative techniques, that enable to have a good taste and a very simple product. Very close to the producer and the farmers, and then bringing them direct to consumer to avoid margins and to have in your kitchen the best quality with the good price.
Okay, so wonderful. So what you have done is basically to put the layer of ready-made products on top of really great farmers. I think that's amazing. Frida, is it hard for you to find good produce out there?
For a restaurant, I wouldn't say so, but it's a lot about connections and also about trust and getting to know your farmer or producer. Because for me, it's more of a friendship. Me and Saba has been working together for 4 years, and I learn new things from him every time we meet and discuss food and crops. So he is my largest inspiration for how I cook today, I would say. So for me, it's become more than just he's a producer, he's a friend and inspirations for me, and the closeness we have is super important for me. And I work with some more producers, but he's my top guy to go to when I need inspiration and good produce, I would say.
But actually, your cooking is actually based on what Saba produces for you, and then so that comes first. First comes Saba, and then comes you.
Yeah, we like I think 2020, 19 we planned for 2020 to have a harvest calendar with the vegetables that I wanted at the restaurant, produced by Saba, and then COVID hit. So we needed to change the plan, but the plan was that he would call me, okay, now the carrots is ready in a 1 week, and then the carrot would come up to the menu. So he decided for me what to put on the menu and not the chef, the opposite, because that's, according to me, a stupid thing.
Okay. Yeah. No, Saba. How does that feel? Is it on? No. Let's use the other mic.
Just wanted to
that's
make
working.
a comment on a couple of things that Frida was mentioning. First of all, thank you so much. As much as I love to take the credit, I think the nature decides, not me. We sit down in the beginning of the season and we decide, we go through seed catalogs, we look at inspiration, we have ongoing conversations and just talk about, okay, what works in our region. We're growing in the south of Sweden. So a lot of things could be grown. The season is obviously a lot longer than, let's say, here in Stockholm or way up north in Sweden. But that's where the inspiration comes. I mean, it's very reciprocal. I get so much inspiration from working with chefs like Frida. I think I've learned so much about what happens in the kitchen to all the vegetables. You know, when she shows up to the farm and I'm just scratching my head looking at a 40 meters of, let's say, spinach that is about to go to flower because of daylight hours and the heat, she's seeing a product that I'm not seeing. She's like, oh, but wait a second. What if we harvest the spinach with the stems on it, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a completely different product than spinach? And what if that ends up on the plate as the main ingredient of that dish, and then the rest of the dish is basically built around it? It's just one very tiny example of what happens when a farmer and chef are working together so closely with each other.
Interesting. Christian, have you experienced that when you're working with the farmers out there, that they actually influence the type of products that you build?
Yes, definitively, because they know about the taste and how you can have a good product or not a good product. So yes, for sure.
For sure. Martin, probably one of the most horrible days in your life was when you quit working at the restaurant, going into a cafe, and then realizing I don't have access to all my farmers anymore. Is that true?
Yeah, in a way, but also actually, moving from, managing Michelin restaurants and cooking for 20, 25 people or so every night, it was quite a challenge to move on and how to kind of democratize the quality of food. But then also I thought, okay, we're going to make this chain of cafes. It's going to go global. For the moment, we have 25 cafes around the world. But how can I incorporate the same thinking and use, for example, like we developed a new bread now with Varbro Kvarn. That is the same heritage grains that I used for the restaurants and for the bakery we had, the Green Rabbit Bakery. But with a very stubborn mind, you can think outside the box and also put those products and create new product that is adapted for example cafe chain. And we work with Nordisk Råvara with the legumes, for example, as well in Europe, and then different produce in Asia. So you can think a bit outside the box with that.
This is important because now suddenly just having a great farmer and a great chef make magic in the kitchen, that's easy, right? Isn't the whole question how you
Nothing
scale
is easy.
this? Nothing is easy, right? But how you scale the things? How can we scale the great produce, the great production out there, so we as normal human beings or home cooks can get hold of that?
I mean, my
Not just chefs, but
personal
all chefs
plan
like
with that is to create a demand and inspire people to eat. I mean, we do plant-based and vegetarian food only in the cafes, but to make delicious dishes and products with that, and also to share a lot of recipes and how-tos. How do we do this? We released a book with the cafes recipes that are adapted that you can make at home. And I think you have to it's all about knowledge, I guess, and a tight dialogue, and also unlock people's mind. Like to get umami, you don't have to only grill chicken. There is a lot of things out there that you can put together that will create that same thing, and super nice flavors and so on.
You agree, Frida? You think it's possible to scale all this, the good production out there, without chefs?
Of course, and it's something in the future we don't have any, we need to. So for us now, it's just to learn from each other. As Martin said, we need to just open up and communicate about the good examples, because we all need to be better at upscaling good ideas in the food industry, I would say, because we don't have any choice.
Yeah. Chris, in France, I thought everyone was cooking from the ground. You know, you went out into the market, you bought the seasonal products, you came home, you spent 4 hours in the kitchen. Or am I wrong?
Half of that.
Yeah, okay, but
Maybe.
because you have products out there that
You see-
actually enables people to get quality products without actually slaving around in the kitchen for 4 hours.
Yeah, so France is in the middle of Europe, so we have Spain, Italy, Portugal, everything, and we have a big country of culture, so it's very, let's say, easy to have very good ingredients. We also know about cheese and wine, and you know, all of that. So it's sure that people love to cook. But basically, a French family, and I think it's the same in Europe, just eat about 7 different recipes at home. So we always cooking tomato sauce with pasta, and we tweak that with pesto sometimes. So we'll see that the basics that we have on our daily lives are always the same. And when we change is to you have some friends coming at home. So I think the more level we need to address, it's about all the basics and the essentials that we use often on the kitchen. And so trying to have a very bad taste plant-based cheese, it's not that kind of future that I want to address.
No, I think I totally agree with you, because you know, sometimes you can get very disappointed with food today, because it's you get low quality ingredients, hyper processed in a huge factory somewhere, producing a low tasty food, and it kind of takes away my joy, because I mean, we miss out on a lot of joy out there, don't we? Unless we act as chefs and get closer to the farmers. And what do you say, Lisa? You're from Johanna. When I went out and visited you, I went into a dream, a dream castle of food, and I saw all these plants that I hadn't seen before. They were lush and green and totally enjoyable. And I said, where can I buy them? And you say, no, you can't. they're just for chefs.
Well, that's also a question of scale, but like
I eat a
we-
lot, as you understand.
what we're currently working with is that we have really, really close contact with the chefs. So they ask, can you grow this? And sometimes we say, hey, we grew this. What can you do with it? That's a really close connection. Now, of course, for us currently, we don't sell to private people because of scale. Of course, that can change when we do scale up. But right now, we mainly have this very, very inspiring contact where chefs come to visit us. And it's interesting because everyone who visits has a different view. So, for example, roots of coriander, cilantro. We show up, look at this nice plant. And then they go, oh, wow, the roots. What can I do with the roots? And that kind of thing. Oh, could I buy your chard when it's like exactly 4 weeks old? Yeah, sure. It's not anonymous in a box imported. We have that interaction with each other. Now, of course, more difficult to scale to a consumer,
Yeah.
of course. But then at the same time, with a diversified portfolio of different plants that we can grow because we are so close to the consumer,
Yeah.
I still think that there is scalability in that.
Well, of course, we have to look to Chris and Martin for scalability. But Saba, kind of a tricky question now, maybe somewhat leading. But if you take a look at what's available out there, you say you're working with seed catalogs, but you're also working with other chefs out there, working with farmers, giving you seeds that you can grow in Sweden. Because and you have to realize, I remember the tastiest thing I've ever had the last few years was something that you cooked for me a few years ago. It was a beetroot that I think you likely boiled and then you smoked it. You've done a sour cream. You soured some cream with some berries. Yeah, elderberry. Okay, and then on a flatbread.
I'm very impressed from your memory.
No. You remember, if you've had that, you remember, I can assure you. And those seeds you gotten from Dan Barber, right?
Correct.
Which is a famous chef in the U.S. where they started to build plants or to grow plants or based on taste rather than volume and size. Have you seen more of that?
Well, there is a sustainability question in that as well. I'm not proud of bringing seeds or smuggling seeds across the ocean. But there are heritage seed collectors in Sweden as well, like Nordfrö. It's one to name. Runeberg is also another company that really pushes the idea of bringing back heritage seeds that used to be grown in the Nordics, and they have almost have been lost, and they're trying to bring it back. And I also try to buy seeds or source my seeds as local as possible to be able to, just bring it to the market, especially knowing that, okay, if those seeds are coming from this region and they were grown before in this region, then obviously they're acclimatized to this geographical region being in the Nordics.
And suddenly, by bringing those seeds back into circulation again, by having great chefs such as Frida cook with them, suddenly we unlock new experiences that weren't there before. And to me, that is, how come we missed all of those experiences once upon a time? And I cannot think of anything more valuable to bring back than that experience that we can.
Well, I mean, if we're looking at the consumers, from the consumer's point of view, unfortunately, the purchasing power in grocery stores that people have access to, Coop, ICA, and similar grocery stores that people buy their majority of their fresh produce from, unfortunately, everything's so limited when it comes to a variety of vegetables. The vegetable kingdom itself is so huge. There's so many different varieties of radishes and potatoes and cauliflowers and things like that. Why is it that there's only one variety of cauliflower in our grocery stores? And that is exactly why I don't actually grow normal looking cauliflower. What we grow is a sprouting looking cauliflower that looks quite funky, and Frida sees that and then she's like, okay, I want that, bring all of it. We're gonna do something crazy with it, right? So speaking of scalability and scaling up, I think we not only need more local growers growing food for their communities, for chefs, but also local families. And the answer is actually right in front of our eyes. We just need to empower more younger generation to look at farming as a career, look at farming as a very respectful and respectable life path to actually take. And that is exactly what we're doing at our organization, training new farmers.
Which means that growing things together with chefs that will enable you to unlock a lot of the potential in the green in the green industry, right?
Absolutely.
No, hand it over to Zach. Because I learned one of the things when I went out and visited you guys, because you produce in an aquaponic system both fish and vegetables, and I understood that you're actually getting better paid per kilo for the vegetables than for the fish, which I think is testament to the quality that you guys are producing. I think that's pretty darn amazing. Martin, out there on the right-hand flank, you will have the last words now. So if you look into the future, with the knowledge that you have now of scaling things to cafes in a lot of places, do you see good prospects for us eating better in the future with the help of the connection between farmers and chefs? Or do you think industry will win and we all die?
Yeah.
From boredom.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm super positive when it comes to that. But it's also important to look at it in different layers and how, if you're going to create a larger impact, that it's always, there will be this, the tip that is super progressive and doing really cutting edge that expire. I mean, as you said, okay, now the chefs want to go for the roots. Like, fuck, I just made really nice coriander. But the other coriander, it might be good in another segment. But what I think is super important now is actually to, I mean, also see the farmers and the cooks in a way that they can educate, so to say, the general public in to make easier or cooking easier at home, that it's not so hard to maybe cook aubergine instead of always go for the grilled chicken if you want that umami. You can do different stuff. And also, as, I mean, for me being a chef, taking responsibility, how can I fit in this chain and what can I do? Okay, my strongest part is probably creativity and come up with new ideas and maybe look at the problem and how can I come up with a solution that is really good and yummy. So also, I mean, startups like Stockeld or Mikorena, so how can they go to market with a product? So, I mean, the large audience also will like, oh shit, I'm going to switch 7 days a week to this because it's super delicious. I think that is very, very important.
Okay, thank you. Very, very delicious will have to be final last words for this panel. Thank you so much for joining. Big round of applause. The future belongs to deliciousness, that's for sure. Thank you so much. Let's finish off this day with the pièce de résistance, which is the next-gen investor models, or next-gen models for investments, rather. They work, both of them. Okay, well, I'll have them. Please come up on stage, Gustav Brandberg.